to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Christina Clark. I'm 21 and I post faith-based lifestyle and college content. So if those are videos that you enjoy watching, you should, maybe subscribe. For today's video, I'm filming a 2021 Q&A, basically just the final Q&A of this year. I want to answer your questions, whether they are specific or not specific to my life, some of the things that you've seen on my channel, and recapping the year of what's gone on. So like how everyone else does Q&A videos, I posted on my Instagram story, which if you're not following me on Instagram, you should follow me. Shameless self-plug. But I posted the sticker. You guys really came through. You guys asked like really good and like critical thinking questions almost. But these are questions that I feel like have some substance. Some of them are very juicy. Some of them are about liberty. Some of them are about my life. Some of them are about drama. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first one is, what did God help you with the most this year? And what do you think he has planned in 2022? Okay, so to answer the first part of this question, what did God help me with the most this year? Oh gosh, he's really helped me with a lot. But honestly, God has been really doing a lot of work in me and in my life when it comes to like the theme of letting go, whether it's people, places, emotions, or just things that I'm holding on to that no longer serve me or that are like holding me back. But also in a mindset that I have, like I used to be a people pleaser. I used to care about what everyone thought of me. I assigned so much value to that, and it really held me back, whether it appeared so or not. I think the way that this kind of all came about and how I worked through it was I spent a lot of time by myself. I still do because I love my own company. But I would also like sit down and I think to myself and I think about all the things that I've gone through that no one knows about. I was like, you know what? That was a lot, Christina, and all of the valleys and the mountaintops that have happened in my life, whether it was in childhood, adolescence, to bring me where I am now, and really reliving some things and understanding why it was necessary to go through them. But more importantly, the fact that no one else knows. Some people do have an idea, but at the end of the day, I know my own story. I know why I am the way I am. I know how beautiful of a byproduct this has been out of what has been. So there's been like so much work, but I think the key theme is like letting go and not caring how someone else can misinterpret, misconstrue, and just like loving me. And to answer the second part of your question, what do you think he has planned in 2022? Bro, I have no idea. I wish I did. No clue. He loves to do 180s on me when I think I have figured out. Big LOL moment. But if I had to take a guess, I think 2022, I see a lot of opportunity and possibilities. Like, I'm just very optimistic about the future, and I love that I'm in this mindset. But I also see like there will be valleys next year. I don't know what they're gonna be, but like that's just how life is. But I don't know what he has planned. I think there's a lot of growth, blessings, a lot of improvement and achievement, like in my career life, school life, work life, all of that, but also my relationships and in who I am. And I'm sure there's gonna be mishaps along the way that we will deal with when they come up. Sister Leah asks, who if you've seen my videos before, you know who she is. Love you, Sister Leah. She asked, what is your biggest accomplishment? I think when I really think about it, like I have seen a lot of growth on my YouTube channel, which I'm thankful for. I am excelling in school right now. I have a 100 in 3 of my classes. Subtle flex, but like I'm proud of that. But I think, honestly, I think my biggest accomplishment isn't something numerical. I think it's just more so going back into answering that first question. Like, I'm so proud of the internal work that I've done. A big accomplishment of mine internally, aside from what I've already mentioned, is just like being able to voice my opinion and stick up for myself with no fear and like little anxiety, because I used to be a big people pleaser. So that was a really big thing for me. But now I just like, I'm in a point in my life where if you like me, love that. If you don't, like that's cool too. It doesn't inhibit me because I know my truth. And I know when people say that, it's like, oh well, you don't really feel that way because you're saying all these things. But like, if I'm gonna say what is my biggest accomplishment, it's really like letting go of all the fear-based decisions and just doing what I feel is right and what's gonna make me happy, knowing I'm gonna make mistakes along the way, knowing I'm not perfect, but kind of just releasing those self-made obstacles. Why did you take online classes? This is a question that I've gotten a lot and I haven't really talked much about it. Basically, what it boils down to are finances. I wasn't in a place where I could go to college, well, like go to Liberty and take classes on campus. That just wasn't a possibility for me. It was really stressful trying to figure it all out, and I'm not gonna lie, when I first had to like resort to taking online classes, I was very upset. I was very distraught because I loved being on campus and I hated thinking that I was gonna be away from my friends. I wasn't gonna get a legit college experience. However, even though the reason for me taking my college classes online was monetary, the reason that I kind of look at now was it was a blessing in disguise, because right when I started my classes online, Tina, my car, breaking every other day. I've had to take her to the shop so many times. She's had problems with the battery, with other things in the engine, under the hood. I'm not an expert in that. So that was very costly. And then gas prices really started to rise. And so as time went on, I was like, thank the good Lord I'm not commuting to college every single day, because if I was, I would be failing all of my classes. And that's no joke, because if you can't show up, you lose points and you can't do the work that you have to do. So the next question is, what are your top 5 college dorm essentials? Oh gosh, I know I have a video about it where I said so many different things, but off the top of my head, if I had to pick 5, I would say a mattress topper, because college beds, like the twin beds, they're not comfortable on their own. I really liked having the over the toilet rack for more storage. That was very beneficial. Also, a full body mirror. I feel like that's kind of obvious. You gotta check your fit. A TV for the room. I really enjoyed that. That's more of a luxury item, but like that kind of made it feel more homey, as well as having a Keurig in my room. What is something you are congratulate or be proud of this year? Again, going back into the fact of letting go of things and situations that no longer serve me, but also just having the wisdom and understanding to back that, and more so on a deeper level, like connecting with it and not just it being a head thing, but I feel it in my heart as well. And so overall, it's like, it makes sense, and I don't want to say it takes shape of my identity, but it's not just something I'm telling myself like internally to one day hope to feel like that and be like that, but I'm actually in that place. What memory in 2021 would you want to relive again? Okay, so I've had a lot of great times this year and a lot of moments that like top tier, grateful, blessed, but this isn't like super exciting. But I would choose, there was this one day in October, it was like towards the end of the month, and it was the first day in a long time, honestly all year, probably from like the past few years too, where I woke up. Nothing was super special about that day, but I just felt so at peace, so serene. I felt like I had 0 problems in the world, and like even when little things come up, I tend to internalize it and stress and worry because I overthink sometimes. But I remember that day I was just so grateful, so like at one with the world. It was just one of the first days in a long time where I was like, I'm good. I'm like straight chilling. I'm kind of high off life, if that makes sense. Next is your 2021 song. I feel like I'm a big music girl. I live and thrive off of music, but my music tastes have really changed and evolved this year. I feel like I've been going into more of like the nostalgia music and like early to late 90s, and I like listening to rock and whatnot. But I think the song that describes my year and that I connected to the lyrics the most would be Love Myself by Olivia O'Brien. Not the Haley Steinfeld one, not the Demi Lovato, but Olivia O'Brien. That song I connected with on every single level. I would play it all the time, I would blast it, I would sing my heart out to the song. Yes, the explicit version. Don't come for me unless you want to, but I love that song. I felt like every line was just so deep hitting and just resonated with me. I still listen to it and I think it's a bop. How to balance YouTube with the rest of your life. I feel like this is well known. I feel like if you're asking this question, you've probably heard it before, but time management. If I didn't have good time management, then this YouTube channel, like, I wouldn't be posting for like half a year. And I think the big thing about that was to kind of go into detail, I would make sure I looked at my week beforehand or even the next 2 weeks and write down due dates for school, when projects were due, overlooking it and seeing when I needed to start working on certain projects if I knew they were going to take more time. I would look at like my work life and the things that I'm doing on social media, what deadlines I do, like brand deals and different things like that. And then life appointments like dentist, vet appointments for Savannah and different things like that, and putting it down on my agenda and also seeing it visually and taking note of the days that I had more time or where it would be more probable that I could film. And so this past semester, the perfect day for me has been Tuesdays. That's usually the day I dedicate to filming and editing and uploading so I can focus on my other responsibilities and obligations throughout the week. Okay, what's your biggest tip for people who want to start a YouTube channel? I think my biggest tip would be knowing why you want to start a YouTube channel, and not for like making money, not for clout or getting recognized or anything like that, but having a passion, having an idea or concepts that you really want to execute and that you feel passionate about. But also realize that you don't need to go out and buy a camera. You don't need to buy like fancy lighting and microphones and like editing software, anything like that. I think if your why is important enough and you are truly passionate about it, you will start now with what you have and try and work a little harder to kind of build in the effect with what you have. So like through your editing, waking up earlier and getting really good lighting and things like that. I do have a video where I have tips for YouTube, so if you haven't seen that, you should go watch it. Start now, get experience, get practice. You'll find an editing style and different things like that. But yeah, I think that's my biggest tip or tips. Oh jeez, girl. How is the dating scene at Liberty? Her emoji that she used for this just sums it all up. Basically, in my opinion, this is based on my opinion, my experience, it's different. It's different. I didn't really know what I was walking into when it came to dating, and I'm not gonna lie, when I first came to Liberty, I was kind of like, ooh, ring my spring. Now I'm just over it. I feel like the majority of relationships that I've seen and like how people talk and start dating, like come together, majority of the relationships that I've seen, and luckily I don't see this in my friends and their relationships, but to me it just looks very naive, and it just reminds me of high school. It reminds me of high school relationships. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Liberty dating. Then again, I'm also just like not a fan of dating at all right now. Like I feel really repulsed by it. But honestly, that's kind of just like how I am right now. But I feel like Joshua Bassett kind of said it best. Ultimately, dating is a responsibility, like relationships are a responsibility, and I'm just not ready for that. But with that being said, I don't think I would find my person at Liberty. I do think the dating is a little naive. I feel like there are great expectations, and expectations are very different than standards. I do have a bit of a past to me. Christina has had a lot of life experiences that if you guys were to hear about it, you would be shocked. But when it came to that and dating at Liberty, I felt like because of my past, I was made to feel like unclean, undeserving, very worldly, and like not fully accepted, and I didn't like that at all. And some of that was like I did that to myself, but other parts of that was just more like a little bit condemning from the male side. Can't really comment on everyone's like thinking process and how they approach dating because I'm not them and I don't know how they think and approach everything, but just from what I've seen and experienced, it's just like it's different. It's very different, and it's like not for me. What are some ways you spend time with God throughout the week? To be completely honest with you guys, this isn't something I'm endorsing or promoting or encouraging, but I really haven't been making too much time for God, like setting out Bible study times and really getting into the word that way. I feel like it's kind of random. I pray a lot. I feel like I pray all throughout the day at different times, and it's not scheduled. I will get into the word at random times, but it's not consistent, and I definitely need to work on that. But I think a big aspect that kind of contributes to that is I have been under intense spiritual warfare and paranormal activity in this house, and in a way it's been forcing me to seek God harder and stronger, but at the same time it also preoccupies my mind and thinking like, what the heck is going on? I know that's kind of difficult to kind of understand, but I've definitely been seeking the Lord a lot for help and wisdom and understanding some of the different things that have been going on, as well as like doing internal work. We always got to do internal work, especially me. I don't have a set rhyme or rhythm to it, and that's something I need to be better at, so I can't entirely speak on that. What is your advice for complicated relationships or on and off relationships? Well, something you guys may not know is I have had tremendous experience in this category. Actually, the first guy that I had ever seriously dated and fell in love with, we were together for 2 years. It definitely was a complicated circumstance. We were on and off because the relationship was very toxic. It was abusive emotionally, physically, kind of. I think it would have gotten way worse if I would have stayed around, but I think I have a lot of experience here, not just with one person. But complicated relationships, I think they're complicated for a reason, and that reason isn't usually positive. I think if there's a lot of implications, a lot of things not lining up and working out, I would kind of look into it, really sit down with yourself and look internally, try and evaluate the situation from an objective standpoint. Like if you can kind of remove yourself and your feelings and just imagine that these are two completely different people and what you would think about it and what you would tell your best friend or friends. I would think about it that way. But complicated doesn't always mean it's negative, but also turning that objective viewpoint into a subjective and take yourself into the equation, how you feel, and if you think you are ready to put in the work and effort to like smooth things out and make things easier, because that's a big thing. I think a lot of complications arise because people don't want to do the work, they don't want to put in the effort. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been in situationships that I've been like that, or the other person has, and they don't work because you gotta both be willing to put in a lot of effort and make up the distance. When it comes to on and off again relationships, no, they're a no-go. I don't advise them, I don't recommend them. I feel like when they're on and off again, it's because deep down you know something's not right. And for me, it was more so the drama. The drama keeps you intrigued, and it can kind of blur the lines of love and lust. So I would keep that in like the back of your mind and just kind of see if any of that sounds familiar in your relationship. When I was in an on again, off again relationship, I was the one who was always breaking up with a person, not because I wanted to be in an on again, off again relationship, but it was more so I knew what was going on wasn't right and I knew I deserved better. But then once I would end it, like love bombing, and that was the only time I really got love and affection, and then I would go back, and it was like a cycle. So it's, when you're in the situation, you do have rose-colored glasses on. Sometimes it's hard to see these things, but I would be brutally honest with yourself. Sometimes you have to give yourself tough love. Understand what you're going through and what you're seeing, and never forget your worth. Because on again, off again relationships, they don't really benefit anybody, in my opinion, from my experience. And yes, there are always gonna be like bumps in the road in relationships. They're not smooth sailing. But when they are overly complicated and there's always something coming up that is a massive hurdle, I think that's something to really ponder and consider and see if both you and your partner are willing to put in the work. Do you recommend going to Liberty University? Well, I go to Liberty, and yes, I would, but I think for certain people with certain lifestyles, I would say no, just because it is like a Christian university. Christ and prayers and all the fun stuff like that are highly integrated with the culture and society there. So if you're not like that, and especially if you want to go to a big party college, don't go to Liberty, because you won't really find it, and it's not what you're looking for. I think it is a great university. I think there are a lot of positive things about Liberty that I will always endorse. At the same time, after going there, I have had some viewpoints that have changed over time. There's some things that I'm not really vibing with as much. I don't know. I think it just depends on the person as to whether or not I would recommend Liberty. It's up to you, your values, what you're looking for in a college. But again, if you are a Christian and you want to be in a faith-based atmosphere, Liberty would be for you. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that I could answer your questions, at least to the best of my abilities. Liberty, if you're watching this, there's no shade intended. If you're a student at Liberty, there's no shade intended. This is just all from my personal experience. So with that being said, if you like this video, make sure you give a big ol' thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment down below what you thought of your year of 2021. What has been the theme of your year? I think maybe more so like what is the biggest lesson that you've learned or what God has been teaching you? I really love that question, so I would love to hear your answer. Yeah, I think the only other thing to say is may the Lord bless you, may he keep you, may he make his beautiful face shine upon you. I love you, Jesus loves you, and this year is almost coming to an end. Let's go out with a bang and let's set a good tone for 2022. This is our year. We are on top of it. We will thrive. Amen. And I will see you guys in my next video.